Tell you one thing, after our show yesterday, when I tweeted this, I had no idea that when I warned people that they need to watch out for the US futures opening, because that could take crypto down. I had no idea that the markets would land up in this kind of capitulation. We had a massive liquidation event. In fact, it was over $2.3 billion liquidated off the crypto markets. It's the biggest liquidation that crypto has ever seen, bigger than FTX, bigger than Luna, and actually it could be way bigger than what is down on paper. And I'll show you, it could be way bigger than the 2.3 billion. And so now there's a big question. The big question is whether this could be the end of the bull market. And I know that everyone's saying, no, you're capitulating, it can't be the end of the bull market. But I think we need to look at the data and decide whether or not this could get worse. And if it does get worse, could this actually lead to the end of the bull market? And I'll remind you of one thing. This cycle did start early. And so there is a chance that this is a left translated cycle, which started a bit early, and we could be heading for the end of the bull market. We could be. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. How much more pain is there to go? Will this tariff war get even worse? Can crypto actually go down? And is this, if it does go down, is it going to be the end of the bull market? So listen, if that sounds good to you, and if you got wrecked, and I know a lot of us got wrecked yesterday, join us. Join the 1.15 million other people that got wrecked, because a lot of people actually got wrecked last night. There's no denying it. We'll talk about that as well. We've got a big show here, so obliterate the like button. Let's get going, guys. Listen, I know it was crazy. What happened in the last 24 hours was absolutely terrible. I got liquidated on a whole lot of positions, massive positions. A lot of other people I know got liquidated. It was the worst liquidation event that's ever happened in crypto. And it's much worse than what was written on the 2.3 billion. In fact, if you look here, the data here says that the liquidations were 2.3 billion in the last 24 hours. But then there was a tweet from Ben Zhao. Ben Zhao is the founder of Bybit. He says, I'm afraid today's real liquidation is a lot more than the 2 billion. My estimation is that it's around 8 to 10 billion. FYI, Bybit 24-hour liquidation alone was 2.1 billion, as you can see in the below screenshot. Bybit 24 hours liquidation recorded on CoinGlass were around 333 million. However, this is not all of the liquidations. We have API limitations on how many feeds are pushed out per second. My observation, other exchanges have the same practice. We could have had an $8 billion capitulation event in crypto. And we need to understand exactly what happened, because there may actually be more pain. And then we need to talk about whether or not this is the end of the bull market. And I know that people all say, no, this can't be the end of the bull market. There's got to be one more leg up. Everyone knows there's going to be one more leg up. But a friend of mine actually asked me, said to me, why is it that you hold altcoins at the end of the bull market, when you know the bull market is coming, or when you know the bull market's over or coming to an end? Why is it that you hold altcoins? And the answer is very simple, right? In the last leg of the bull market, we expect a very high and very fast rise in the altcoins relative to Bitcoin, right? And so if everybody is expecting the last part of the crypto bull market to be now, everyone goes into altcoins. The problem is that if this is the end of the bull market, the market goes down like it did today, and then everyone's expecting the market to go up. So it goes up slightly, and then it goes down, and you buy and you keep buying and you keep buying more altcoins. And then you get to the end of the cycle and you land up holding a whole lot of shit. And that's what actually happens at the end of cycles. So we're going to talk about all of those things today. It's actually going to be a very serious show, very big show. So yeah, I mean, let me know how you guys are feeling in the chat. I know that this has been absolutely terrible. I know a lot of people got liquidated. I know a lot of people were on Bybit. That's $8 to $10 billion of liquidations. I know I got liquidated on some massive positions. I'm here making crypto content, being transparent with you guys, because we're going to get through this together. And I'm going to show you everything that I've learned, and I'm going to show you everything that I'm seeing. So I'm also devastated, Maddie. All of us are devastated. Yeah, I mean, someone says he's feeling great. I don't know how you're feeling great. Maven, part of the Banter fam, I see you there. I see everybody there. Anyway, let's get into Alpha, and we can carry on having a chat afterwards. Just remember to smash the like button, please, because it gets everybody to watch the show. And if you're not already subscribed, I know we have the highest subscriber ratio in the market. But I mean, yeah, let's do it. I also see someone says, I see someone says my backside hurts. Yeah, my ass hurts too. Broken. A lot of us are broken. No, not devastated. Someone says lost all. Someone says nothing left. I hear every single one of you, and I want to show you what actually happened. Let's actually analyze it. So Yesterday, when I tweeted about I did a show about the tariffs. You can go and watch that show. It's the show just before this. And then afterwards, I thought, hold on a second, just watch out for the US market open. And the reason why I was so worried about the US market open is because the crypto markets had time to process everything that happened on the markets, but the traditional markets didn't. That's the problem. And now you're going to get to a point where the futures, and I thought the futures would actually open down, and they did. And when they did, what happened was we got a massive capitulation event. CoinGlass says 2.3 billion in 24 hours. As I said to you, Ben says that number's wrong, and it's probably 4 times that. Just think about that. 4 times the biggest liquidation event. So as if 2.1 billion wasn't enough, we probably had a liquidation event which was 4 times that. We had 25% wiped off the total market cap. Can you imagine that in the last 24 hours, 25% of the entire crypto market was wiped off, including Bitcoin? If you go to the altcoins, and I'm going to go to total 3 here. Actually, let's go to total 2, which is it's the altcoin market, right? The total that has been wiped off the altcoin market is 40% of the altcoin market. And remember that also includes ETH. 40% was wiped off the crypto markets since a month and a half ago. 40%. That is one of the biggest corrections that I've ever seen in crypto. But the reality is that it actually could get worse, and I'll show you why it actually could get worse. I'm not saying it will get worse. I just want to show you the case where it could get worse, okay? So let's actually look at what actually happened. So if you look at Bitcoin, kind of like nothing happened. I mean, Bitcoin went down to 90,000, 91,000. It's now back at 96,000. And that's obviously because the US markets have opened. And I guess that the US markets have opened not so bad, 1.75% down. There's no bloodbath on the US markets. And so what's happening with Bitcoin is an institutional asset. And so it's starting to trade a lot more like the institutional assets, like the NASDAQ, like the Dow, etc., etc. The problem is ETH. ETH is what happened yesterday. ETH caught everybody by surprise, and ETH absolutely capitulated last night. ETH went from $3,000 or $3,400 on Friday, and it actually touched a low of $2,000 on this exchange. So in every exchange it went somewhere different, but it touched a low of $2,000. And that is what set off the liquidations. Because remember, ETH is supposed to be the safe asset. ETH is supposed to be the institutional asset. And now you've got ETH going down to $2,000. And this is the position that I was actually liquidated into, to be honest. And that's what caused the entire liquidation. It caused the altcoin market to capitulate. All the ETH-related altcoins absolutely got obliterated. I'm just going to show you one thing around Curve. Curve was at $1.30 very recently. It went down to 40 cents. ETH, because ETH had so many tokens staked, because ETH had so much DeFi on it, effectively we got ETH, which destroyed and basically destroyed the entire altcoin market. And so then you had a massive capitulation event specifically in the altcoins, and the leverage has gone up from a high of 40 billion to less than half of that, $16 billion. Basically, every single bit of leverage has been absolutely wiped out the market. The funding rates are completely reset. In fact, you're now being paid to go long. You're being paid to go long. That's what's basically happening. But the truth is that if you were holding Sol or if you were holding Bitcoin, this is nothing. You don't even feel the correction. You can't even say that Sol had a massive correction because Sol is still at $200. If you were holding Bitcoin, Bitcoin literally went back to where it was on the 18th of November. And Bitcoin is still up in this cycle from, I don't know, $40,000 or whatever, or the cycle low, whatever it is. Bitcoin is still up. It's still up from the inauguration day. The problem is ETH. ETH got absolutely obliterated, and it took down all the altcoin people with it, right? And so if you analyze what actually happened, we had a massive liquidation event. And this is the most brutal liquidation event that I've ever seen. I saw many of these posts. So this guy says, greed comes with a cost. I got liquidated while using spot paper as collateral for the long. Still in shock while I'm realizing I'm officially broke. Thank you for everyone who read my stuff in the past 2 years. And there's a lot of those guys. This is Elio saying, easily one of the worst months I've ever experienced in crypto. Carl the Moon got liquidated. A lot of people got liquidated. This guy says, I did not expect things to go this way, but I got fully liquidated yesterday. During the dump, my risk management wasn't what it should be. I lost everything. Absolutely devastated by what happened. but this is it. My crypto journey ends from here. So this is really a capitulation event where people are leaving crypto, and I actually believe that. So who actually got hurt here? Well, the people that got hurt here were the people that were trading in leverage, the people that were in spot seemed to be fine, and the people that were leveraged in alts. The people that were in Bitcoin, the people that were in Solana, don't really know that there is a correction going on. They don't feel the same pain that everybody else feels. The people that got liquidated were the people looking for quick returns, people that were looking for leverage, people that were looking, that were trading the memes. They are the ones that actually got liquidated. And so now we have to ask ourselves a question, right? Why did this happen? And could this be the end of the bull market? And I think it's an important question to ask. And I'll tell you why I think it's an important question to ask. Because everyone thinks that when the bull market ends, everyone will kind of know about it. And that's not really how it works, right? When the bull market ends, you only know in hindsight that the bull market ended, right? So what actually happens is, I'll show it to you from last time. So let's take that as the end of the 2017 bull market, right? No one believed that was the end of the 2017 bull market. We all thought there was going to be one more leg up. We all thought that, remember here, we didn't know about the 4-year cycle. We only had like one previous 4-year cycle before that. In 2021, we had a correction in April. Everyone thought, oh, this thing's going to go up, and it went up to November. But then in November, we thought there might be one more leg up and Bitcoin might go to $100,000. It was $69,000. And then there was a dip. And then we all said, okay, let's just buy this dip because there's going to be one more leg up. And then the one more leg up never came. And then there was another leg down. And then everyone said, but there's going to be one more leg up. And then the one more leg up never came. And then, guys, there's going to be one more leg up. And eventually we landed up at the end of the bull market. And so what I want to highlight here is that there is a possibility that this is the end of the bull market. I would say that the probability that this is the end of the bull market is about 25 to 30%. I don't think it's a very high probability, maybe 25 to 40%. But we do need to talk about what happens if this is the end of the bull market. Because it's not like you would know. You would just be holding and buying altcoins at discounts all the way down here, thinking that the market is actually going to recover. And it just never recovers. It just recovers slightly, and then you buy more. And then you think you get FOMO, and then it goes down and down and down, and eventually what lands up happening, you go from 69,000 and you land up somewhere around 15,000, and that's how you get destroyed in bull markets. And so the way that I want to frame this is to say, look, we need to understand that this could be the end of the bull market. It probably isn't, but it could be. And if it could be, then the problem is that if you carry on trading like we're in a bull market, and you carry on buying every dip, the problem is that you're going to land up at the bottom, not holding anything. So it's super, super, super important that we really, really look and analyze whether or not this could be the end of the bull market. Now, remember that this bull market actually started really, really early, because we had the first all-time high before the halving, which is the first time in the history of Bitcoin that we had the first or the all-time high ahead of the halving. And at the time, it started because of all the ETFs. So there is a chance that this cycle actually went a whole lot left, and that we've already had the end of the cycle, and that now we're actually on the way down. There is a chance. Again, I say it's a 25 to 30% chance. And then you may say, okay, well, that would be pretty shitty, because this cycle, we never actually got an altcoin run. And I'm going to argue that we actually did get an altcoin run. And you can see what happened here. This is what happened when Pump.Fund launched. So if you look at how the cycle performed, this area here is how Pump.Fund launched. And so instead of the money being channeled into the main alts, right, the money went into Pump.Fund. And so here, when you take the alts performance versus Bitcoin and you compare it as to how it happened every other cycle, something funny happened here. And that was the launch of Pump.Fund. And so it could be that Pump.Fund actually stole the altcoin season, and we actually topped early, and Pump.Fund actually stole the altcoin season, right? Also, I mean, we've got to read this tweet, because this tweet actually points out quite a few things. It says, I don't think this is the top either, but if it turns out to be the top, in hindsight, some of the signs would have been pretty obvious. First thing is, retail is on the scene. 47% of Trump, Melania meme coin buyers created their wallets on the same day, and basically there was a massive wealth transfer from the retail market. Then you've got the main character of the cycle, 𝗖𝗤𝗢𝗙. He's everywhere. Remember, every cycle has a main character. The first one was CZ. The second one was FTX. And so we could be in a position where these guys, the leaders of the cycle, right? The leaders of the cycle actually are everywhere. So you can see like the Forbes article is like probably one of the big curses that actually happens in the cycle. XRP is up 500%. An asset that pretty much does nothing is up 500%. Pump.fund created a meme coin for launchpads. AI coins have no business model. Crypto natives are fighting with each other on X. The Coinbase app already made its way to the number 10 apps in the App Store, number 1 in the finance category. In this cycle, Phantom Wallet actually became the number 1 in the App Store. Key opinion leaders have grown their followers exponentially. Crypto advertising markets have repriced as crypto stock upset. It feels like the entire market is hinging on Nvidia's earnings. And so there is a chance that we're going to look back and say the signs were obvious. Like we had 𝗖𝗢𝗢𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗏 everywhere. XRP did go up 5%. We had the pump.fund mania. We did start slightly left of the cycle. I've actually compared it here in a spreadsheet because I love spreadsheets. And I compared it here and I was like, okay, let's just look at the signs before and the signs after. So in the last cycle, we had Sam Bankman-Fried, the main character on the cover of Forbes. On this cycle, we had Michael Saylor. In the last cycle, we had a major protocol collapse, one of the blue chip protocol collapse. It was Luna. In this cycle, we had the Rune collapse. In the last cycle, we had people buy an NFT mania where people bought NFTs for crazy prices. At this cycle, we had meme coin mania. Last cycle, Coinbase got to number 1 on the App Store. This cycle, we had a similar thing. So you can see last cycle, Coinbase hits a top spot. That was December 7th, 2017. And if you go back to December 7th, 2017, that is over here. So you can see that is when the market basically topped. We had the same thing in 2021 and 2022. You can see it over here. 28th of October, 2021, Coinbase hits number 1 on the App Store. 28th of October, 2021 is around there. Coinbase hits number 1 on the App Store. Now, in this cycle, Coinbase didn't hit number 1 on the App Store, but Phantom did. So we had Phantom actually hitting number 1 on the App Store, and Coinbase hit number 9 on the App Store. So when we look at all these things, you can look at the other thing. XRP up 750% in 4 months, and XRP up 550% in 3 months. So there is a chance that we're going to look back at this and say this was the end of the cycle. And I want to prepare you for that, even though I think it's only a 25 to 30% probability. Why do I say I want to prepare you for that? Because if you are going to be accumulating altcoins on the way down and we don't actually get another high, you want to be holding altcoins that you can actually hold into the next cycle. Solana, Radium, Bitcoin, and coins that are going to survive into the next cycle. What you don't want to be is holding meme coins and holding garbage and buying that on the dips, right? So if this is a dip and we treat this dip like it's the end of the cycle, then what I think we'll do is I think we'll be very responsible traders. And I think that that's something that's very, very, very important, because remember that corrections are made to change behavior. They're made to scare you so much that you repent for doing all those stupid things that you did, and they're meant to change your mindset into focusing on what's actually really important, right? That's what corrections in crypto and in all markets are actually for. Because when markets are moving high and fear and greed is at an all-time high, we do stupid things. We spend a lot of money on the AI agents. We buy a whole lot of meme coins. We take bets without actually evaluating tokens, right? But when you get to a position where you get a correction like this, if you factor into account that it maybe there's a greater than 20% chance or 25% chance that the market has topped, then when you buy the dips, if you buy the dips, and I think you should be buying the dips, we'll talk about that in a second, you will only buy quality. You will only buy tokens that you think are actually going to continue running and are going to run a lot. If you play the other way and you keep thinking like there's another leg up, you may land up buying a whole lot of shit. So regardless of whether it is or isn't the end of the bull market, what I do think you should do is I think you should change your mindset to say, maybe this is the end of the bull market. And if it is the end of the bull market, am I buying things that I don't mind holding for the next 3 years? And if you do that, then what you'll actually end up doing is you'll actually end up building a brilliant portfolio, right? Because if it survives, maybe it won't run up as the best meme coin. But what you've realized now is that all those people that were posting all these amazing screenshots around all these meme coins are all garbage. They all didn't make money. They made money temporarily, but they don't have any money left. All these people that were posting big leverage things all these people don't have any money left. You know who's got money left? The people that bought Bitcoin, the people that bought Solana, the people that bought and held spot. Those are the people that actually have money left after this capitulation, right? The people that were posturing, and I kept saying this to you guys, yes, they'll make money in the short term, but my goal is to make you guys make and keep the money. And that's why we may not make as much money as the Murad clan. We may not make 1000x on PopCat, but we're also not going to lose 80% of or 90% of our money when this thing crashes, right? And now we are seeing the difference between the people that made money and the people that will actually get to keep money in the next cycle. Now, of course, I made mistakes. Of course, I'm human. Of course, I invested in some things that maybe I shouldn't have invested in. And this correction has now put me back on track and reminded me to practice good risk management, to stop buying bullshit, to start doing more proper research before I buy things. Why? Because I think this could be the end of the bull market. 20% chance. Now let's talk about the other 80% chance. So let's make an assumption that there is a 20% chance or 25% chance that the bull market's actually over. And let's agree that everything that we do from now on is with the mentality of this could be the end of the bull market. If it is, the tokens that you're going to buy in the dip, you're going to want to hold until the end of the bull market, and that we're not getting into exuberance and we're not buying in with a mindset of craziness and exuberance. We're buying with a defensive mindset. And what will end up happening is you won't be destroyed when the dips come, if they come, and you'll live to fight another day, and you'll end up walking away with more money at the end of the bull market. And as I said to you a million times before, it doesn't matter how much money you make during the bull market or how many screenshots you got or what the value is of your phantom wallet during the market. What matters is the last day when you withdraw money. That is what actually determines how much money you make in a bull market. And now you're starting to see that all these people that were posting all these meme coin profits, where are they today? They liquidated. They don't exist anymore. The money's gone. The money is gone. Why? Because they thought they were invincible. And so if you just change your mindset to say, look, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not one of these, hey, there's definitely a boom, and everybody's expecting the next leg up. So what, you think that you're unique? Every single person in the market, every single person you speak to, oh no, we'll definitely top in April, we'll definitely top in November. Every single person thinks the same thing. When everyone in the market thinks exactly the same thing, most people get hurt, and it's happened every single other cycle. So my suggestion to you is act as if this could be the end of the bull market, and exercise the right risk management in terms of the tokens that you buy. And you'll end up buying tokens that don't go up as much as some of the other tokens. But you will be here to fight another day when most of the people aren't here to fight another day at the end of it. Most of them have been liquidated. And so now let's go back to it. I think that bull markets are designed to that corrections in a bull market are designed to be so sore. The ass whipping that you get is designed to be so sore that you actually really change behaviors. How many of you would actually go back into meme coins right now when you can buy real fundamentals right now? If your answer is that you can go into meme coins, great, good, do it. Then that's your risk tolerance. I'm not going back into meme coins. There's nothing there for me. I think that this could be a correction in a bull market. And why I say a correction in a bull market is, corrections are about fear and greed. The fear and greed index was at 92. The fear and greed index is back at 44, at 45. That for a bull market is a very, very, very respectable, very, very, very healthy correction. Same thing here. This one was at 90, at 83. Actually, it was higher. It was in the 90s. It's now down to 39. That's the crypto fear and greed. So I do think that this is a correction, but I have to caution you about this. Bitcoin is still, let's work out the exact percentage. Bitcoin is still 41% higher than it was 2.5 months ago. Okay, there is still a lot of downside, guys. There's still a lot of downside, guys. There can be a lot of downside. Bitcoin could go back to 80,000. It could go back to 85,000. Make sure that this Bitcoin hasn't had a real correction yet. Bitcoin has gone from 107 to 90. That's nothing. Same thing with Solana. These tokens haven't gone down, and that means that there could be another leg down. Make sure that you guys are protected if indeed there is another leg down. I don't believe this is the end of the bull market. I think that when we see the end of the bull market, we'll see it on many, many more metrics. We'll see it on this 2-year MA multiplier. We'll see it hit the top, just like it's hit that in many cycles. We'll see the social indices go up. We'll see the RSIs touch this line over here. All of those things, I believe we will see. All the things we spoke to Ben Kahn about, all the risk levels will get into the red. All of those things, I believe that we actually will see at some point. However, I also acknowledge that the cycle did start early. And if the cycle did start early, and remember when everyone says, yeah, but in previous cycles, guys, there were only 2 previous cycles. Your data set is a total data set of 2. Okay, now the first one went up and came down. The second one went up, came down, went up, came down. There's only 2 cycles, and each one of them was different. It could be that this one is different. We started earlier and it ended earlier. It could be. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to deal with what the market's giving us. But what we learned right now is that we need to manage the risk, and we need to think as if it is the end of the bull market. And as this guy Alpha in the chat says, he says, moral of the story, don't buy shit. And what bull markets do to us is they give us the confidence and make us think that we are geniuses, and make us think that we're invincible, and we land up buying a lot of shit. And when we land up buying a lot of shit, we then land up paying the price, right? So someone said there was more than 2 cycles. Not for altcoins, there weren't. Altcoins pretty much launched in 2017, real altcoins. There's only 2 cycles out of there. So I do believe that this is a correction in a bull market. I think that every bull market has corrections. I think we're experiencing the first real correction in the bull market. As I said, I think it can get quite a bit worse. I also think that if you look at it, like, this is nothing new. Others against BTC, last time it bottomed when quantitative tightening ended. The Fed is still quantitative tightening. Quantitative tightening ends at, we hope it'll end in the next Fed meeting, which is in March. But normally others, which is the altcoins, only run after QT ends, right? And then Ben Kahn says, remember the crypto markets tend to nuke 1 month after the Bank of Japan raises rates. They raised in January, there's a February capitulation. They raised in July, there was an August capitulation. They raised in March, there was an April capitulation. So all of these things are pretty normal, right? Like, all of these things are pretty normal for a bull market, which is why I think that this is a correction in a bull market. But I do think that you got to be careful, because as I said, we haven't had a real correction in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still 40% above where it was on the elections. There is a good chance that Bitcoin can go all the way back down here to 75,000. It can happen. Position your portfolio the same way. Make sure if you're taking leverage, make sure you're holding it, you've got enough margin or whatever it is to go all the way down to 75,000, because it could happen overnight while you were sleeping, like it happened for everyone last night, right? Okay, I also think the following. So as it relates to today, I think today is max pain. I think the amount of people that were liquidated, I've never seen anything like it. Someone said, yeah, buying liquidation cascades like these are one of 5 times a year you shove and buy everything hand over fist. It is a gift. When you get the second biggest cryptocurrency falling 40% or 30% in one day, that's a buying opportunity. When you get a capitulation where the capitulation is so bad that nobody can even tell you how much leverage was actually flashed by the market, well, that is when you actually should be theoretically buying, right? If you're going to be buying dips. Palm says today is one of those days where ignorant will sell assets at cheaper prices to those who have emotional control. I think he's right, and I think if you're holding spot, you're not tempted to sell. You're just going to sell. You wish you bought during COVID. You wish you bought during the COVID crash. This liquidation is actually bigger than the COVID wick, but you're scared of this crash. So this is when people actually land up making money. When liquidations happen, when cascades happen, this is when retail investors dump and whales actually land up accumulating. That's, of course, exactly what's happening on the chain. I'm not telling you to go out and put your life savings and buy the dip. I am telling you that when dips happen and when capitulation events happen, it's usually a very, very, very good time to buy tokens. That's usually what the theory is behind this. But if you're going to buy something, make sure that you keep in mind that the rest of the bull market, that the rest of the correction may actually be ahead of us, and that we may actually even be at the end of the bull market. And so you buy tokens that you're willing to hold for a long period of time and that you think are cheap, even in bear market standards. That is how I'm playing this. We're not going to make as much money as the Murad clan. We're not going to make enough money to post 1,000,000,001 screenshots, but we are going to keep our money at the end of the cycle. And that, as you know, after today, is actually the only thing that's important. We're going to be here for the next cycle, and we're going to be here for the next cycle, and we're going to be here for the next cycle, and we're going to be here for the next cycle, and we're going to be here for the next cycle, which is a lot more than I can say for a lot of other people. There's a lot more that I can say for a lot of other people, specifically the ones who seemed to be making a lot of money. And I warned you that this day would come, and I hate to say it, but now this day is starting to be here. Anyway, let's look at, for 2 seconds, let's look at the reason for this capitulation. It was the tariff war that Trump started. We did a whole show about it yesterday. I'm not going to repeat the whole show of yesterday. The main thing that you got to understand is that Trump is going into the media to drive a message to people like China, people like South Africa, people like Canada, people like Mexico. And so he's using the media as a tool to talk to these people and to send a message to these people, right? So first he says, Trump said pain from tariffs will be worth the price. But then Trump is going to hold talks with Canada and Mexico tomorrow to actually try and resolve. And so remember that this is all like bullying. It's posturing. He wants to show that he's strong, and he wants to bring them to the negotiating table. And so that's how it actually starts. I mean, there are going to be tariffs. Is there going to be a tariff and trade war? I don't know. Remember, Trump's working to a strategy. I don't think this is his strategy. I don't think he's going to place tariffs, crash markets, increase USD value, cause a trade war, negotiate historical trade deals, reduce tariffs, cut rates back to QE. I don't think it's going to happen like that. That said, it is an option. I do think that he is working to a strategy here, and I don't think that he wants to crash the markets. And so I do think he's posturing to the Mexicans, and I do actually think it's going to be okay. But that said, as I said, you never know. And so you need to be prepared for the worst, manage the downside, and let the upside take care of itself. It's simple as that. Just manage your downside. And then don't worry, the upside will take care of itself in time. And maybe you won't be the richest guy in the whole world, but you'll have enough and you'll keep your stack at the end of the market, right? That's really your only objective, is to just hold on to your stack at the end of the market. All right, so I think that's it for today. I've got some time for Q&A. I know a lot of people have got a lot of questions. Trump says fuck around and find out. We will win, no worries. I do believe we will win if you're holding the right coins. I've got to be honest, my 𝗤𝗄 position was liquidated. I think my PopCat position was liquidated. I lost a lot of money, a hell of a lot of money. I got liquidated on a lot of things. And to be honest, I probably deserved it. I wasn't managing my risk, and now I'm going to start managing my risk correctly. I'm here. I survive to fight another day. We've obviously made much more money than we've lost, hopefully. And we carry on fighting another day, specifically the people that were in spot positions. Let's see, are there any other? We rise together, we cry together, was Valetu says. Say is a good bet. What about Baked? Baked is an AI agent. We keep training him and training him and training him, and hopefully he'll get smarter and smarter and smarter. Someone says 80 kilograms down the drain. Oh, 80 Gs, sorry. Why always on a weekend? Because there's no liquidity on a weekend, because that's when things happen. Alrighty, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm back in the studio. Thank heavens. I love this hotel and everything, but it's just time to get back to the studio. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.